It was 7:15 at night, the sky above us a reddish-orange as the sun sank lower on the horizon. Soon the leaves on the trees would match. We got off the highway and began to pass closing businesses as streetlights flickered on. I watched all this, trying to feel a sense of rebirth, a piece of optimism. It didn't come. While I was away, my parents had packed up our house and sold it. They had purchased a new place on the east side of Akron and made it clear we were moving on from the past up north. Less than 30 minutes later, the driver pulled into a subdivision called Briar Point. A subdivision, as in row upon row of houses that looked exactly alike. As in too bland and boring, unlike the neighborhood we'd lived in before. A late-night jogger breezed by, her blonde ponytail swishing behind her, and I raised a brow. Where we'd come from wasn't exactly dangerous, but nobody ran, especially at night. The driver came to a stop in front of a medium-sized, 2-story house, complete with an attached 2-car garage. I gazed at my new home. It was my clean slate, my second chance, or more like my last. We all vacated the car and grabbed our bags from the trunk. My mother gathered the house keys and took the lead to the front door with Yesenia and me behind her. My father tipped the driver, and the man drove off. After I got home from juvie, and before our sudden trip to Mexico, my family and I had only begun unpacking here. Now it was almost the second week of September, and Yesenia and I had missed the first week of school. After spending spring in and out of court and a lovely 90-day stay at a detention center where I'd caught up on all the schoolwork I'd missed, I would be serving my probation in a new part of the city, with a fresh start. However, it was beginning to appear as though there was no moving forward, as far as my parents were concerned. They no longer looked at me as their son, but as a petty criminal and a burden. And given that in the morning I would meet with my parole officer, I didn't blame them. I was newly 17, and already the patron saint of fuck-ups who couldn't be trusted as far as they knew. Guillermo. My father spoke softly behind me as we entered the house, and Yesenia and my mother disappeared down the foyer around a corner. I didn't face him. There were only so many times I could see that look in his eyes. Yes? In the garage. Now. I turned and found him already making his way to the door that led into the garage. Each step I took after him felt heavier than the first, my anxiety causing sweat to bead down my back. Inside the garage, my father stood back, waiting for me. I barely glanced at him before my gaze landed on the 2 vehicles. One, my mother's silver Acura, and the other, a dark blue Charger. The shiny, vibrant paint made its beauty stand out. My father cleared his throat. Matt knew a guy who could restore it, and it took some bargaining. But it's yours. Another glance from him to the car, and I realized what this was and what this meant. Back in the day, when my father's brother, my tío Mateo, still lived in Akron, he used to keep this beat-up old Charger in his driveway. Tia Jackie used to complain about it, but Mateo wouldn't part with it, swore it was a project in the making. Whenever I was bored, I'd climb in behind the wheel and pretend to drive it. Pretend I owned the road. Pretended to be as cool as Tío Matt. Fast forward to today. And gone were those rust-stained doors, replaced with a solid body and fresh paint. Even the inside was new. I leaned over to gape through the passenger window. The black seating and updated system had me grinning like a fool. Tío Mateo lived in Columbus now, but the gesture wasn't missed. I faced my father, my smile instantly slipping away at the sight of his stoic face. Thank you. Both of you. My father gave me a stiff nod.